Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So the holidays are in full swing, and that means that at some point in the next couple of weeks, if you haven't already, you're probably going to come across the phrase, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. If you don't hear it in a Christmas carol, you'll probably see it on a sign somewhere, maybe spelled out in Christmas lights. But have you ever wondered where the phrase actually comes from and what it really means? A lot of times when people use the phrase, they use it to suggest that the coming of Jesus should bring us a sense of internal peace. Other times people use it to say that the coming of Jesus should bring peace to our relationships, peace to all mankind. And that makes sense to some degree, right? In Isaiah 9, for example, in one of Isaiah's prophecies about the coming of Jesus, Isaiah refers to Jesus as the Prince of Peace. And yet later on in Jesus' own life, in a conversation with some of his own apostles, he says something that doesn't sound very peaceful at all. In Matthew 10, verse 34, Jesus says, "Don't assume that I came to bring peace on the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I came to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be the members of his household." That doesn't sound very peaceful. So how do we reconcile these two images? The image of Jesus being a bringer of peace while also being a bringer of division. To answer this question, let me take you to the source of the peace on earth quotation. In Luke chapter 2, shortly after the birth of Jesus, an angel appears to a group of shepherds, inviting them to come and see Jesus. And at the end of this conversation, Luke tells us in chapter 2, verse 13, "And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, 'Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.'" Now that's from the King James Version. According to that translation, it sounds like the peace that's offered is to all mankind. It's universal peace. But most Greek manuscripts, and consequently most modern translations, read this differently. They translate it something like, "Peace on earth to people he favors," or "peace among men with whom he is pleased." So rather than being universal peace offered to all mankind, it's peace that's offered specifically to a group of people that God is pleased with. And so that's why the Prince of Peace could also say that he came to bring division. The division would be between those who would please God and those who wouldn't. And God would offer peace to those that he was pleased with. Now, Jesus was born during the reign of the Roman Emperor Augustus, who's celebrated historically for something called the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace that's been unmatched in world history. The problem with the Pax Romana, though, is that it was temporary. It didn't last. Eventually, the Roman Empire fell, and with it, the man-made peace that was ushered in by Augustus. Fast forward almost 2,000 years to World War I. There's this fascinating story about British and German soldiers issuing a temporary ceasefire on Christmas Eve 1914. They laid down their weapons and met on the battlefield peacefully. They talked, they exchanged presents, some of them even played soccer together. But just like the Pax Romana, it didn't last. And within a week, these same soldiers were back at war. And that's ultimately the problem with any man-made peace, is that it's just temporary, and it won't last forever. So if we want real peace, the kind that lasts forever, it's not going to come just from singing Christmas carols or giving presents or even showing kindness to other people. I mean, those things are great, but they're just temporary. If we want the kind of peace that lasts, it's only going to come when we seek God's favor and we try to live lives that are pleasing to Him. That's the kind of peace that Jesus came to bring. It's the kind of peace worth celebrating. It's the kind of peace worth fighting and sacrificing for. And it's the kind of peace that I hope you want for your life. See you next time.